So today with us, we have none other than the infamous Bryce and Morgan Brown, the real estate power couple of Wichita. Guys, thank you for making time today, and thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
So talk to me about, I guess not real estate related, but a question I've always wanted to ask over the years of knowing you guys. How on earth did you guys meet?
How did we meet?
Yeah, meet. Like how did Morgan become a Brown?
Yeah, we met in college in Tennessee, at the University of Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was
Bryce played there his freshman year.
I had a class with one of her friends at the time that I didn't know, but they were best friends growing up.
Yeah, my best friend.
She saw me and asked her friend about me.
Please, you wish.
It's history there.
No, not at all. No, he ran in the same circle as one of my best friends growing up.
She was smitten.
Please.
Swiping. All right, tell him.
That didn't even exist back then, Bryce. Come on.
Exactly. Like he's seriously really on one today. No. Basically, it's simple. My best friend growing up, she played basketball at UT. Bryce was there playing football. So just, kind of small world. We met through, she had a few summer classes with Bryce, and we just sort of ended up in the same group. So.
And you were smitten right away.
Swiping.
No. We didn't end up together officially for another probably year and a half after that. So we were friends for a while. Yeah.
Cool. Well, fun. Well, this isn't a marriage podcast, so we'll move on from that. As much as I'm sure you guys have plenty of advice in the parenting and marriage realm, we'll save that for a different day. How did you guys get started investing in real estate?
When Bryce retired from the NFL, we were just looking for our next step. His uncle, who actually is also former NFL player, and his wife had a lot of success in real estate, and we're super close with them. So when we were looking for our next step, we went up to Omaha, spent the weekend with them. They were game changers for us. They opened up everything for us, showed us their portfolio. I mean, everything, just very transparent about what it takes to start. And we went from there. We, our first deal was a 5 doors package that we did a complete overhaul on, and we just went from there.
Yeah, that's how we started. And then I think we sold pretty much all of them since then.
We just sold the last one of those this past summer. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Was that the duplex then?
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, you guys did good on that one. Good work.
Yeah.
Real good work on that one. So why sell those 5? Was it more of like this is what we thought we wanted to buy, and we thought they were good deals at the time, and like now that you've changed your investment strategy, it's like, those are kind of outside our portfolio now?
Even at that time, I mean, just to be brutally honest, like, I was not crazy about those properties. When we drove up to them, I was just like, "You gotta be kidding me, Bryce! Like, we are not buying these places." Like they
the area, or just because they were run down, or
all of it.
Yeah, area was part of it.
Like, area was not great, and then the former owner just had not done anything. Like he had been a total slumlord, and so we had to put quite a bit of money into him. But we got a crazy deal on him. Like you could never, nowadays you could never get what we got for. And it just like, we kind of looked at it as you've got to start where you've got to start.
Right.
And then we decided after a few years, because, once you get into tenants and holding properties and the whole thing, you kind of learn what to expect from certain areas of town, certain types of tenants you're going to get, the whole type of thing. And within a year or so, I think we bought our first property on the east side, and we were just like, this is more.
This is better.
Yeah.
So it's cash flow and headaches.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
Exactly.
It's always a balance between the two.
Exactly. And we knew that we were not about to be the type of landlords chasing people down, physically going to a house to get rent, stuff like that. So we basically looked at that as just pure business. Like, we're going to use these properties and sell them off piece by piece. Every single property that we sold of that package, we sold for more than we bought the entire thing for. And
Dang.
You can't beat it.
No, that'll work.
And one of the things my uncle always said too, now that they've been investing for a while, and he talked about, just their standard and what they look for. And he always says that if he wouldn't stay in a place, he's not going to expect somebody else to stay in it. So we kind of raised our standard from there, and it's worked out for us.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly know that. I mean, every single one of your guys is that, we've either done business on, or I have, seen or drove by, or you showed me pictures of. I mean, I don't know if there's a better duo of like standard of living in a $800 or $900 rental in the city. Like, you definitely spend candidly more than I would, but it's your guys' standard that you guys have, and that fits into your portfolio, and that fits into what you guys want out of it, and that's everything for it. And I'm sure you have less turnover than I do, and you could probably get an extra $50, $75 a month more on a 2-bedroom than I can because of it. So I'm sure I have much to learn, but
you'd be surprised because we'll put a little bit more into it, but we will look at like what the average rent on the street is, and we'll push it, man. Like, we'll push it $250 more than what the average on the street is.
A month?
And I always told her she's not going to get it.
Bryce, every single time, he's like, you'll never rent this place out. And the first people who see it, take it.
No way.
Every time.
In knowing how your guys' properties look, that shouldn't surprise me. Shouldn't surprise me at all. So moving from that, so you guys have been investing for what, 7-8 years, maybe more?
No, this is our 6th year. We started in 2016.
All right. So 6 years in, what's the biggest lesson you guys have learned? Doesn't have to be a mistake.
I would say go slow and be patient. Like, I think that's been our biggest thing that's helped us is, I feel like with the market changing and stuff, we've always been able to adjust to it because we've always we never got ahead of ourselves. Yeah. We've always been able to adjust because we move slow. And I'm the one who tends to be the one who want to move faster or.
Oh, I know it. I know it. Bryce is always the one I text when I got a deal. And then,
I know.
And then Bryce ends up putting us in a group chat. I'm like, Bryce, no, come on, man. Me and you, Doc, we're going to do this.
I can't tell you how many times we've had houses brought to us that Bryce is like, we need to take this one. We need to take this one. And I'll be like, it's not right. It doesn't fit. So right. I would agree.
So it's a discipline thing.
I think it's a little bit, but we've both had to grow. I think there's been times too where I think her being scared kind of stopped us from doing some stuff too. So
it's definitely been a growing situation in general. I mean, when we first started real estate, and I'm being totally candid here, I cried and cried and cried. I was terrified to get into it. Like, we really didn't know anything about it. And I was looking at it as like, we were so young. I mean, we were 25, and it's like, that was our savings. That was all we had in the whole world. And we've got these 2 little boys, and I just felt really overwhelmed. Like, I felt like, are we really going to put up this much risk, and do this? So I do come from a much more just practical, like trying to look like very thoroughly look through everything. So I definitely, we were talking last week about, because of me, we have definitely left a lot of money on the table at certain times. So that's one of our goals moving forward, is to be, we're more comfortable now. I think we're more comfortable taking a little more risk now, but it was
a little more experience. You probably made a little bit more money, and you've got a little more credibility at the bank. Like, you're more bankable. So it's a lot more forgiving the further and further you get into it.
And you get more comfortable. Like, I remember at the beginning, when people would be like, we've bought 10 houses this year. Like, I'd be like, how are you comfortable buying, like, it's a whole house?
Yeah.
That would just seem crazy to me. And now I'm like, we know what we're looking at for the most part.
Right.
Like, I get
like,
it now. There's a
yeah,
lot
I mean, from analyzing your first deal to how many light bulbs are we going to need? I mean, this is the budget to walking into a house now and in 15 minutes being able to say, yeah, we're going to spend about 35 to 40 somewhere in there, and being okay with that $5,000 gap versus being like, we're going to spend exactly $32,187.12. And it's like, you're going to go over budget because you've never done this before. You're probably going to end up spending more on that first rehab than you would on a rehab now that you analyze less intensely.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's certainly something that I've noticed in our business. I mean, like you said, when I bought my first one, did all the work myself. I mean, I was, installing everything. YouTube University was the way to go. And I would hear people talk about, I bought 5 houses last month. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I cannot imagine. Like, if I did one more this year of me doing all this myself, I'd be like, what a great year. We killed it. I'm talking about 5 a month, 10 a month. And I'm like, that blows my mind. And then you get further and further in the business and you hit that, the economies of scale. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, that's not so far-fetched. Like, that's not so crazy. Right. So yeah, no, I totally resonate with you guys on that. So what, you talked about, staying disciplined, and you talked about, staying focused and going slow and just being patient. What strategies or what kind of properties are you guys buying now? What are you staying disciplined towards, and why?
I will say I won't buy a 2-bedroom because you cannot rent them for enough, in my opinion.
Sure.
And real estate,
and it's hard to sell them. It's really hard to sell them. Someone living in a 2-bed, it's probably not buying them. They're probably renting.
Yes, it's very tough. There's some people that'll grab those up because you can buy them a little cheaper, but I think in the long run, when you look at rentability, if you need to sell it, the whole thing, we try our very best to stay away from 2 beds. Sure. We really love, like a 3-bed, 2-bath or a 4-2. And we really, really focus on areas of town. Yeah. Like, I mean, how many times have you sent us a house and Bryce will be like, I can't with that location. Like, even if it's not even that bad. Like,
yeah. It's just outside of your scope.
Yeah. Like it has to be on a nice street. It has to be somewhere that when a tenant drives up, they immediately know what we expect of them. We're not going to have like dumpy neighbors around. Like, we want streets. Like,
I understand that.
It keeps the renters to that standard. Like, they're not gonna dump it up if everybody around them, the houses are clean and nice. They kind of know what's expected of them.
Now, have you had, in all the years and all of the tenants and houses and everything, have you had one that you were like, this was an awesome rehab, we put a ton of money in this house is awesome, and it got absolutely trashed?
Oh yeah.
Phase 9. Yeah.
Tell me about that one. That one was fun.
Oh, the one on 9th.
Yes.
I almost bought that one. That's right.
I know.
I remember that. Damn it.
Yeah, that's a great.
That's our first and only eviction.
Yeah, we had to evict. And it broke my heart.
In 6 years, that's not bad.
No,
6 years and all the house and 1 eviction, that ain't bad.
Yeah, I agree, but it was a nightmare. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, rented it out to her. Of course, she loved it. It was beautiful. Like, we had.
You guys did an awesome job.
Yeah, like, it was beautiful. And man, that lady literally 3 months in told us to stop texting her, to stop asking for rent. Like, she just straight up was like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not paying you guys.
The neighbors reached out to us in the middle of the night one day and was like, I think your tenants are moving or whatever. I mean, we were happy.
But this was after the eviction process. And she knew the system. It was like a nightmare. She knew the system well enough that she knew she could like postpone court dates and all this stuff. So she dragged the eviction out for months.
So she'd done this before.
Oh my gosh. You have no idea.
This is her MO, going from house to house, to landlord to landlord.
We went in after she moved out, and the place, I almost cried. Like I'm making myself sound super emotional on this podcast, but we had just been so much work and she had only lived in it for 3 months. And we had to replace the carpet again. She like went in there. It looked like 12 dogs had lived in that house.
Oh no.
It was a nightmare.
She left a lot of stuff too.
Yeah.
So she left a lot of
ton of trash.
That's too bad.
It was awful. Yeah.
Oh.
That's a nice neighborhood. Like
that was a great neighborhood.
I know.
Are you guys gonna fix it up and sell it? Take advantage of the market right now, or are you gonna?
We just rented it out.
That one rents for like $1,400 a month. And
I believe it.
We paid cash for it, so I'm like, hey, we're keeping that thing.
Yeah, no doubt. So what? Looking back, anything you could have done differently to prevent that with that tenant, or was that just an anomaly? Like, what's the lesson that you guys learned out of that deal?
I always do a background check.
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day,
we weren't consistently doing background checks at that time, which sounds so stupid now. I can't even believe we ever
it really does.
Right.
I mean, how about for $25 online? You could have saved yourself a lot of money there.
Yes, you sure can. But yeah, we just totally dropped the ball on that one. He was finishing up his last semester of school, and I was working on kinds of different things, and I just honestly was ready to be done with it. That was totally on me putting her in there. Like, I was like, I trust her. She's so nice. Like, huge mistake.
They're all nice.
Yeah.
Heart will get you killed in the real estate game.
Yeah.
So with your guys' strategy and kind of the areas and like the types of houses that you guys only stay disciplined towards and only look at those, do you see that changing with the market, or are you guys just going to like double down and like be even more disciplined as, potentially the market continues to be flooded with opportunities off market? Are you guys going to open up those parameters a little bit and kind of, expand, or are you really going to hone in and wait, I guess?
I think we're definitely trying, like, our goal, one of our big goals for the coming years is to definitely scale and expand. But I do think that there are,
I think for buy and holds, we'll probably stick to the same standard, parameters, but
for sure. But as far as flips, I think we're willing to
expand.
I think we're more comfortable to go outside of
a little bit. Yeah. I mean, not anything crazy,
I mean, God forbid you go south of Kellogg. I mean, let's not get crazy now.
Let's not get crazy, like
let's not get ahead of ourselves. Talk to me about how does the dynamic work between the two of you being in business together? Because I know there's a lot of people out there who are a husband and wife team, or they're thinking about going into business together as a husband and wife. And I'm sure there's some dynamics there that are certainly interesting. And I'm sure it's not always easy because you have to make business decisions, but you have to do it with the person that you go to bed with every night. So, I mean, it's easier for me to make decisions with my partners because I get to go home and see my wife and don't have to fight with her about that. So what's navigating that look like? And what advice would you give to other husband and wife teams?
I would just say what you're good at, stick to that, do that, and let the other person do what they're good at, and then just kind of be complimentary to each other. Like for me, Morgan's more into the detail. The devil's is in the detail, and she's good at design, things like that. So for me, it'd be best that I stay out of that, and my thing is demo and all that nasty stuff and keeping contractors in line, working, things like that. Anything outside of the detail and the design aspect, just leave it to her. And
I think we also too, like, I would highly encourage anybody that's looking to get into it as a couple that either hire someone who you trust with numbers, or one of you should be very good with numbers, because especially once you get like you mentioned earlier, really good relationships with banks and stuff like that. If you're not organized and good with money, that could almost be your downfall. I mean,
absolutely.
all of the sudden you have a lot more access to, the doors really open up, so to speak, and somebody has to really keep things tight, and make sure that you're on budget and everything's being handled properly. And for us, that's me. I'm super type A. I like carry a planner around with me everywhere, so.
Wait, what? I would have never guessed. Oh, Lord.
I just think organization is key in anything, but especially this. Like, if you're going to be your own boss, if you're going to make your own money, if you're going to be responsible, be responsible.
Right.
Make sure you have somebody that you either trust to do that, or make sure that you can really level up and get to that point. Because again, that's a deal breaker, I think.
I've talked to a lot of people, newbie investors or agents on the team at the brokerage that are like, I want to get started. Like, I see you doing it. What's the advice that you have? From day one, treat it like a business.
Yes.
Like you don't need to go out and make your LLC and plan your corporate retreat day one, but keep track of every dollar, keep track of every hour, plan and structure and build your infrastructure and your systems in your business. Build it like you're buying 10 houses a month.
Exactly.
If you do that, once you scale up to the point of where you are buying 10 or more houses a month, you don't have to shut the business down, take a step back and build all that stuff and, miss out on a year's worth of income because you had to hit the pause button and go fix everything.
Exactly.
Build everything in the beginning to be big. Treat it like a business from day one.
Character and honor go a long way with that. I mean, if you
especially when you're self-employed, if there's no one around to be like, hey, hold me accountable.
Exactly. You have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and know that you've handled every penny correctly and you've done it right, because no one's keeping you in check.
Right.
So that's important.
Oh, absolutely.
Important.
Absolutely. Well, it's kind of the perfect segue into the last question I had. It's the best piece of advice you guys would give to a new investor, and what's the best piece of advice you'd give to someone on the fence about getting started in real estate investing?
I would say be careful who you trust. I think that's a big one. Be careful who you trust, and there's a lot of good people in real estate, and there's a lot of bad people in real estate too. So
we've made some of our best Wichita friends through real estate. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, there's some amazing people, but we've also dealt with some snakes, which but I would say to anybody on the fence, I would say do it. Wouldn't you? Too. I mean, it has changed our life. It has totally changed our life. And I tell everybody that, anybody who will listen, anybody who asks me about real estate, I just gush about it. Do it. It'll change everything. Cause it's so exciting when you find something like that.
And you don't have to know everything.
No, you can learn along the way, and you just have to start. You just have to do it. And seriously, if you do it right and you make the right decisions, in 5 years, you'll look back and just be like, wow. I mean,
you wouldn't know how you did it.
No, sometimes we seriously sit and we'll be like, how did we get this far? How did we even do it? And it's like,
do you guys wish you would have started sooner?
I did.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. I mean, that's
everybody does.
Yeah. My second year as an agent, I was 19, and I just started asking anybody that had been in any form of real estate for more than 15 years. And I was like, what's the best piece of advice you would give me? And they said, I wish I'd have bought more houses. I wish I would have bought more real estate. And that was the most consistent answer of everything I got. And I was like, all right, Chip, I have my marching orders. Everybody's looking back, wishing they would have started earlier. I'm 19. I've only been legally be able to buy a house for a year. I guess I could have started a year ago, but the second best time to plant a tree is right now. So let's get it rolling. So that's for anybody listening who's on the fence, if you weren't convinced, by Bryce and Morgan, to get started in it. And when you do get started in it, to do it right from the jump, because real estate's the fastest way to build wealth, but it's the fastest way to go bankrupt if you do it wrong. It's an illiquid asset. It's not like a stock. If the stock starts to tank, you can sell, you can move out. Piece of real estate, you better love it because you're married to it.
Yep.
Someone's got to come bail you out of that piece of real estate. And it's going to be at a huge discount, or it's going to be a foreclosure. It's going to be a negative situation. So not to scare anyone off of the fence, but just to make sure when you do get started, and do it right from the jump, you will absolutely wish you would have started earlier. I know I do. And I started about as early as I could. And I wish I had started earlier.
Exactly.
So I really appreciate your guys' time. I know you're busy. Anything else you want to say before we part ways here?
Thank you for having
Yeah,
us.
thanks for having us.
Of course.
Glad to be the first.
Yeah.
Of course. No, yeah. I couldn't think of a better duo to have on the show for the first episode than you guys. So I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your schedule to make it happen.
Of course. Thanks so much.
I'll see you guys out there.
Yep.